Jen, welcome to Shooting the Shit, and thank you. I see you're taking over the Mr. Olympia page tomorrow.
Yes, I'm going to be doing a live event tomorrow.
That is sick. That is sick, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm sure we all are, too, as Canadians.
The queen of Newmarket.
Is that where you're from, Newmarket?
Well, originally Richmond Hill, and then I moved up to Newmarket like 2 years ago.
Queen of Vegas now, though, right?
Vegas now. That's me.
I definitely take Vegas over Newmarket.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are you in Vegas now, or are you in Newmarket?
I'm Vegas right now.
You're in Vegas right now. So how was the travel there? Did you have any issues getting over the border, or?
It wasn't bad actually. So I had been home for like 5 months because of the whole border closure. But most people don't realize air travel is open. It's only the land border. So I was under the impression, same as most people, that I thought the borders were just closed, US, Canada. And then I went online and was doing like a little research and stuff. And on the US Customs Border Patrol, it said that air travel is not affected. And I could book flights. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to like chance it and try, pack my bags, book a flight, and we'll see. And then I just had all like the proof printed out saying that I could travel. I haven't been to China or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they were fine, like going through customs. To be honest, it was easier than usual for me. It was just like everything's
Did you have to quarantine when you got to Vegas?
No, so in the States, there's no mandatory quarantine. It's just when I go back, if I go back, it's like a 14-day quarantine.
Big if. I do not blame you.
The American dollar is nice, isn't it, Jen? Tell us.
Not when you have a Canadian dollar.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
Right,
then,
that's
yes.
right.
Then, yeah.
So I kind of have a little bit of a question for you, actually. So you and Mark obviously are in a relationship now.
Just for the viewers,
difficult
Mark, which Mark are we talking about?
Mark, isn't his name Mark? His name's Mark, right?
The original Mr. Olympia,
Okay.
Classic Physique, the first in time. There we go. We got to put some respect on it. There we go.
So my question is, was it difficult for you separating for that long? How difficult?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've been together for like 2 years now. So when we were together, most of the times I was going back and forth. Like I would be here for a month, and I would go home for a month, and I would just be back and forth all the time. And last year, obviously, I was competing a lot in the States, so I just stayed here as much as I could. But as a Canadian, we only have 6 months in the States. So being home for 5 months was the longest that we've ever been apart, but it was just thank God for FaceTime. I mean, my dogs too. So it was like FaceTime every day. Like we were kind of on the same schedule because he would just get up early. I would stay up late. It's only a 3-hour time difference, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Mike, you deal with something similar to that, huh?
Yeah, except a 14-hour time difference.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
A little bit harder, but you make it work. There's a will, there's a way.
14.
Yeah, so.
I feel like a lot of people have kind of struggled through relationships during this time, and it's very hard. That's kind of why I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah.
Does Mark diet with you when you're dieting for shows? No,
There's 2 types of Ben and Jerry's, like the new flavors, Boots and Moon.
Oh my God. He's got those
relentless. But you're a soldier, man. How many shows have you done altogether, Jen?
I don't know. I'd have to go through and count, but let's see, my first year competing, 2015, I did regional, open, and then I did regional natural, provincials, national, so 5, 6, 7 when I won my pro card. And then my first year competing, I think I did 5 or 6 shows. Last year, I think I did 6. So probably close to like 20 shows.
Ooh, yeah. That's like where I'm at.
This is the thing that reason why I wanted to have you on. We've been highlighting a lot of coaches, but you're an athlete first and you crush it. Like you've done these 20 shows in just a matter of what, 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah. So I started 2015 when I first turned 18. That's when we didn't have the teen bikini back then. So I had to wait till I was 18. And once I was 18, I did my first year of competing. And then
so you're averaging about like 6-7 shows a year. And
I was doing a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome too, right? Because you pushed and you saw your placings getting better, so you kept going, right? Where otherwise you would have obviously rested if
just chill out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the pro level, it's like when you're trying to qualify for the Olympia, you have no choice but to just keep pushing. So it's like last year, for instance, I started in February was my first show, and then I was competing up until June when I qualified, and then Olympia was September, and then I had a bit of time off, obviously, after that. But before then, I was just going all year long, basically. Every 2 weeks, I had a show.
What's in that mindset, you know, going back to back from show to show, dieting all year?
Honestly, I feel like it's easier to do back-to-back shows and do a full prep, because my first prep of the year is always the hardest, because you go from being like full on off season or like whatever mindset you're in where you have the flexibility, and you have to switch on to that prep mindset, which is like, once you get into the prep mindset, it's easy to keep going. Once you get to that phase, like where I'm at right now, I told James too, I'm like, I don't really care like what I'm eating right now, or like if I have carbs or not. Like, I'm just focused right now, so I don't really think of food as like enjoyment at this point. I'm just like,
it's a
it
tool.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like I'm not eating to enjoy my meals. I'm just eating to get it done with, and that's it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that makes it easier kind of being in that state like year round, rather than having to like actually have a full off season and then come back down? Like in terms of your mental state and your like ability to like function on a daily basis, do you think that kind of changes that?
Yeah, mentally, I think doing back-to-back shows within a certain time frame is easier. Like for me, 2 to 3 weeks between shows is perfect, because you have enough time. You come off that one show, you can have a meal post-show, you get your feedback, you have time to improve and bring a better package to the next show, get rid of any water retention you might have, and then you're still on like a post-show high for the first week post-show. So you're motivated, you're like, let's hit it, I gotta go make all these improvements. And then going to the next show, you're in your peak week the next week. So it's pretty easy to do like back-to-back shows. I find when it starts to stretch out like 7 weeks between shows or something, that starts to get hard, because you kind of lose that post-show motivation, starts to dwindle a bit. And then you're like, okay, this is dragging on a long time. So I do think like back to back, it is easier to be in that mindset, and your body's kind of already there. So it's not like you have to go from being like off season to like your prep stage ready body. You're already kind of in that zone, and you just can cruise into the shows.
Now, I know bodybuilding is a little bit different than bikini, but Jen, don't you feel it's kind of hard to keep hitting that peak when the shows are so close? Because you kind of have to like deplete and then load. And I know bikini kind of not as to the extreme as bodybuilding with that, but it could be tricky.
A little bit. I think like for me, I don't know how people do shows 1 week apart. I personally, my body would not. I hold on to water like post show once I have a meal, and then it takes me a few days to get back to normal. Plus with travel, like you have like 3 days realistically to get ready for the next show. By the time you fly home on the Monday, then you're flying out Wednesday. It's just too much. But I think 2 or 3 weeks is a good enough time that your body can regulate again, and then you can have time to feel back.
Yeah, that's a good time span.
Anything less than 2 weeks is like
it's hard. Yeah.
My next is going to be Tampa in 2 weeks. Actually, I'm 12 days out right now.
Yeah,
you seem so energetic.
I know. I wanted just like
me 2 weeks out.
If you guys knew what my diet was like, I'd be like.
Just as you mentioned that, I want to share just a quick your update. Can you guys see this here?
Yeah, that was James actually just posted on his story this morning for today's update.
Yeah, Jen, your quads are bigger than your waist.
You like lady legs, man. Lady legs. You're crushing it. Yeah. Tell us your mindset in developing the perfect bikini physique for the Olympia stage, because you're not just getting ready for regional shows, you're not just dieting and losing weight. What's your focus to build that Miss Olympia physique that you're going to?
Honestly, the biggest thing for bikini is being balanced and being proportional. So I'm looking at like every aspect of my physique, the dog. I'm looking at every aspect of my physique to be like, is something overpowering, or am I looking proportional? Something too much, something lacking, and kind of trying to balance out being like that perfect level of conditioning where I'm not too hard, but I'm also not too soft. And for me, like we had to stop training glutes because my glutes were just too jacked that they were taking over. So I hadn't trained glutes for 2 weeks. Yeah. So we were like, no more glute training right now. In the past, I've had to like cut down on back training, upper body, just because my back and my arms were getting too wide. Now it's kind of like moved into the V taper. They want to see that like width in your upper body. So I can still work on that. But my main focus this year, I would say that I've been working on was adding a bit of width to my upper body. So a little bit more shoulders, a little bit more lats to me, just to help improve my V taper.
I find that you women are much better at sculpting the physique versus men. I find that men get into this groove that like, I just need to get bigger. I
It's
just
an
need
ego
to
thing.
put on sorts of, yeah, it must be. And
But
that's
it's
one
hard.
of the, that's
Sorry,
one of the
Jake.
things that I like about classic physique, because they're very
Mhm.
specific to tell
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
okay, like you have to refine the physique, not just put
It
on
has to be
size.
balanced.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Mike?
It's just, I think with bodybuilding, because it's so extreme and everyone is so big, that
Yeah.
for you, you could be shredded. It's not like, you know, I guess any other category in that way, because you can be shredded, but if you don't have the size, you're irrelevant.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's happened to, yeah, it's happened to me like 2016, where it's like, yeah, I'm shredded, but it's like, well, that's great, man, but you're small.
Yeah.
You like a guy who's bigger than me with less conditioning, not like out of shape, but less he'll win 10 times out of 10. It's, you know, it's not like being an amateur, man. It's a different ball game, you know.
It's totally different.
Do the women have that same kind of rivalries? Like, I know it's not size, but is it like, oh, I need glutes like Jen, or I need to get shoulders like so and so?
I think some people do. Like, even myself, sometimes I get in my head and I'm like, oh, you know, this girl's has like a crazy waist, or look at her abs, and like I never have crazy abs. So for me, that was always like, I used to always be like, look at people's abs on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do well compared to them, and just get in my head like I look mediocre, I look like crap, blah blah. That was me like 2 days ago to James. I was like, I feel like shit. I was like, I look terrible. I look like an amateur, so mediocre. Like,
but you guys don't really need. Do you guys really need abs though? Like,
no. So that's the thing. Like, it's just one of those things that you kind of have to like recenter yourself and refocus. Like, do abs matter in bikini? No. Does a tight waist matter? Yeah. So do I have a tight waist? Yeah. And it's like, you kind of have to focus on like, if abs are not your strength, why would you compare that to someone else who has six packs abs year round? It doesn't make sense, you know? It's like,
but that can actually work against them though, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of times I've competed against people who like, I was looking at like scared of their pictures because they had these shredded abs. And then on stage, it's like maybe their third call out or something because it's too hard, or it didn't balance, you know? Bikini is like, they don't want to look at you and see like, oh, she has crazy abs, she has crazy shoulders. They want to look at you and be like, wow, she has a great symmetry and balance to her physique.
Good flow.
It's like an overall look. Nothing should really stand out.
This is really good for women to hear that, like, even you at your caliber and level, you have these moments where you're second guessing yourself. Or
every single year at 6 weeks out, every single prep I've ever done since my very first show, I always break down and like cry, freak out at 6 weeks out. Like, I look terrible. I'm not gonna be ready. Because 6 weeks out, you're like, you're lean, but you're still kind of like, you still have that little bit of softness to you where you got to get rid of the last bit of fat. You're flat, you're watery, you're soft.
So did you just get used to that now when 6 weeks come and you start to feel that feeling? Like, okay, it's time. I'm starting to feel it.
I can recognize it, but it still gets me sometimes. And then I'm like, wait, how many weeks out am I? I'm like 6 weeks out. Yep. And then I know it's like the same thing. Then when I get close, like 2 weeks out, it's the same thing. Cause you know, you feel time fast approaching. You're like, shit, it's coming close. Am I ready? And then you kind of feel the pressure, but then you just got to refocus and just be like, it's all good. I'm on track.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the biggest struggle that you have to overcome with competing? Or would you say that there's something that you struggle with more?
I think that's probably the biggest struggle. It's like not psyching yourself out, because so many of us do. And I know myself, I'm like terrible for doing that. I look at myself and I'll be like, I don't even look good. Like, I don't know why someone looks at me and thinks I look good, because I'm like, I look terrible. Even like before going on stage sometimes for shows, I'm like, oh, I look okay. Like, these girls look amazing. And then after I see my stage photos, I'm like, oh my God, that's how I looked. Wow, I looked really good. And my games are like, we told you. Like, and they're like, if you knew this when you went on stage, you would have brought so much more confidence, but you were second guessing yourself. So I think like it really makes a huge difference, because for Olympia last year, by far that was my best package. I think that was like 100% on that day for me. But I really felt like I was at my 100%, and I knew that I was at my absolute best. So when I went on stage, I think it showed, versus other shows that I've done where I kind of felt like, you know, like, meh.
Yeah.
I wasn't at 100%. Whereas Olympia, I knew, I was like so excited to step on stage. I'm like, I can't wait to see the judges' faces. Like Sandy and Tyler, when I step on the stage, I'm going to be like, holy shit. So I knew I had like really brought it that show. So I was excited to like show off my hard work. That's kind of how I feel right now.
And you did.
Show off, like,
that was a big show for you.
Yeah, Olympia was awesome.
And
from the last Olympia to the next one, because we know you're going to be there, what do you feel like is the biggest takeaways that you took away from the last one going into the next one that you want to bring and improve on, would you say?
For me, it was like looking at me on stage. I think like like I said, I was 100% where I could have been at that day. But I think I could have been a little bit fuller compared to some of the other girls. I looked a little bit depleted down, I think. So upper body, I've been working on bringing a little bit more fullness. Obviously, I did get implants done, so that's going to help bring some fullness upper body.
We talked about that too with James.
Yeah,
He said that it would make a big difference.
It really does help a lot, just balance out proportions, because I do have like strong glutes. So it helps balance top to bottom, even from like a side profile.
Side shots, yeah, for sure.
Like you were saying, the side profile really helps. And it does, you know, when you're standing in your side pose, and it just gives you that extra shape.
Did you put a before and after up on your page? Is there a before and after? Probably.
I don't think we do, but I can find one.
Anyway, before we get into your physique, I wanted to ask one more about like that atmosphere at the Olympia, because I know all of us, like, that's everyone's dream.
Olympia is like insane. No words. Like the whole experience, like both years because last year was my second year doing it. The first year was amazing. The second year was like just as incredible, because there's just like all these big names in bodybuilding that you're around, and you're next to backstage, and like it's crazy when you look backstage and you're next to like these huge names who you've like looked up to all these times, right? And like getting the tracksuit is awesome. That's probably my favorite part.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Once you put on the tracksuit,
I'm gonna sleep in that thing once I get it.
Yo, bury me in mine, yo. Bury me in mine. I don't even care.
So cool.
Yeah.
I can only imagine working the expo. The vibe is like just next level. It's like the whole weekend is a high.
The adrenaline.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine competing. Wow, that's a rush.
Tell us.
That'd be nuts. That'd be nuts.
Yeah, like even from like the Thursday when there's the meet and greet, I think that's probably one of my favorite parts, because it just starts off the weekend in such a good way. Like you're at your booth and so many people want to come and be like, you know, I want to take a picture with you. I want to chat with you and hug you. And I'm like, me, like, who am I, you know? And it's like, it's so crazy to see like how many people want to come and look up to you or tell, you know, you inspire me, or like, I want to be like you or something like that, or I'm rooting for you. So I think that just like really starts off the weekend. Like I'm just so grateful after that event, because I go back to my hotel and I'm like so happy and like such a grateful heart, because you just have so much positivity around you.
Yeah.
And then you have like a day to like chill and get everything done, tanning, go to the expo, and then Saturday morning comes and it's like head to the Olympia stage. Backstage, you're walking through this crazy crowded expo. You like hear everything, you smell the pro tan.
Yeah. Do you see a direct result to your following and maybe your insights after a big show like that, or after a big expo?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Even like when I'm getting like ready for a big show, like right now, and I start posting more content and like people know I'm getting ready for a show, my insights are up a lot. And especially after show, it's crazy how much it goes up.
Are you still eating cucumbers with cinnamon?
I ate it last night.
What else are you eating? How hungry is Jen?
Well, if you guys know, like what my diet was before, the past couple of weeks, we really had to like get aggressive, because we were like, you know, I'm like borderline ready, but I usually have to suffer to get like that really good conditioning that I need in my glutes. So I was doing like no fats, no carbs, just protein and veggies. And I was on like 2 hours of cardio, and just protein veggies, like chicken breast and green beans or zucchini or whatever.
You know what?
Zucchini, I like it.
People that need to hear this, because we say it all the time, and James even said it on the podcast as well. There are a lot of women out there that are soldiers, man. They're out here putting in the work, and they're suffering. They're willing to suffer. They're willing to do.
That's where the respect is
earned.
Some
people are scared of that, you know. It's like some people look at it and like, oh, that's not healthy. And I'm like, well, I'm not competing at like an amateur level sport. I'm competing to be in that elite 1%. So if you're an Olympic athlete, your training is not healthy. How much you're training, what your diet looks like, or if you're
people who say that aren't there on that. They're not at the level, and they can't even grasp the comprehension of or fathom of even what the slightest thing takes to be at that level.
And they don't realize it's temporary. It's not like I'm doing that for a year. I'm doing it for like, one, it's under like supervision. I'm checking in every single day or twice a day, 3 times a day sometimes. So it's like we're keeping a really close eye on anything that's changing, or if I feel a certain way or whatever. But I'm like that person that no matter how shitty I feel, I would never be like, I need something. I'll just suck it up and be like, yeah, I'm fine. No worries. It's all good.
Do you usually get blood work done during prep or anything, or you kind of do it once a year? Or
yeah, so I try and do it every 6 months or so. So usually like when I started prep, I got blood work done before I started all my preps, and everything was great. I kind of pay attention to things. Like I still have my cycle right now. Like I just had it last week. So it's like my nails are growing super long. My hair is growing. So things like that I pay attention to if like I start to feel like, you know, maybe my nails are growing.
Yeah.
Your hair is hella thick.
Jen, if you can run some this way, I mean, it would go a long way.
Yeah, I'll take some too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, give it to me and Jay. We need it.
That's awesome. So like Tampa Pro, right? I seen Tim posting some flyers, some pictures of the new venue.
It's
I've always
good.
heard that it's been
Where's the new
best
venue?
show.
It's not at the Hyatt anymore?
No, it is at the Hyatt. So last year it was the Hyatt. I did that show
Yeah.
in 2018. It was at the Tampa Marriott, I think.
Yeah.
How was the experience there?
Oh, okay.
2018, that's kind of why I wanted to do this show, because I'm like, 2018, that's actually where I met Mark 2 years ago. We were like passing by each other in the hallway. His friend was competing there. So that's like going to be our little like reunion from when we met. And that was where I qualified in 2018 for my first Olympia. I was second there.
Nice.
And just the show was run. Tim puts on such amazing shows. Like it was run like perfectly. Honestly, it was seamless. Like the schedule did not go behind anything. He has like the Friday show and the Saturday. So it split up the men and women, different categories, and everything was on time. There's nothing going late or anything like that. He has like the meet and greet and the athlete registration on the Thursday. So I just really like the layout of the show. The stage lighting is perfect.
It's fun.
The backdrop is amazing.
So what's going to be the policy with that? Like in terms of like competitors wearing masks or audience members, do you know a lot about like what the policy is going to be?
I'm not too sure about Florida. I don't think they have a mask mandate, but I could be wrong. It just depends on the individual like city even, and every state is different. So I know like California, they have to wear masks, but when you go on stage for individual, you can take it off.
Yeah.
So I have one just in case, but we'll see.
Do you have one that matches your suit?
Yeah.
Nice.
With, like,
it's all decked.
I feel like you wouldn't want to go out there with like a nurse mask on.
Yeah. Just like the cheap one, like everyone else is wearing the blue one.
Yeah. No, mine is like the same color as my suit with the same stones on it and stuff. So it's cool. It kind of looks like a little ninja.
So you're going
mask.
prepared.
I'm prepared, yeah.
Has COVID affected your prep at all? Well, you were in Canada before you came, so were you training in Canada? Were you able to train?
I was just training at home. So my entire prep up until 2 weeks ago, I didn't have a gym. So it's like the past 2 weeks being in a gym, my body has changed more than like the past month, obviously. So as much as like, obviously diet is number one in terms of getting lean and fat loss, I do think like how hard you train really does play a role, because you don't have that dense, hard look to your muscles if you're not training hard. Like if you're not training heavy, you're not going to look that way. Obviously my muscle is a big thing, but even when I was training at home, like I have a Stairmaster that I had bought actually just a few months before the whole COVID thing. So I still have like my cardio equipment. I had some dumbbells, bands, and I bought like a single pulley cable.
Yep.
So it was like 150 pounds with some attachments. So I could do like back stuff, shoulders and arms on there, but it just wasn't the same as like being in a real gym, having like machines.
You had the cable like so you could, if you could slide it up and down and do
the one that fell on Anton's head.
It was like the high-low pulley cable, and I had like the lat attachment and like a rope attachment.
Nice.
So I can make do pretty well.
This is a testament to people that like, even people at your level, you can still make it work. And you know, it seems like you've even made some improvements with.
If you got the heart, there's always a way,
access.
man.
If you have the heart and you have the desire to want to do something, then you'll do it, right? So that's
exactly.
Like,
it's
it's
Newmarket's finest, bro. That's why I said young Jen's come a long way from LA Fitness.
LA Fitness days.
LA Fitness days.
LA Fitness days.
Yeah, but you know what, man? It's Jen. You're absolutely a testament to not allowing obstacles to stop you. It's just something to go around or to hurdle over, because there's always going to be obstacles, and you know this is just one of them. But in your life and everyone's personal life, you face shit, and if you're loyal to yourself and your goals and you're true in your heart, you'll never stop, and that's good for you. And I know you're not, you know, you're very humble and you don't brag, but I feel like that's something that a lot of people, hopefully they, you know, watch and listen to this podcast and they can see that that's such an important aspect to have as an athlete. And if they want to be at your level, that they need to have that, because
definitely,
you know, if it's not one obstacle, it's the next. So good for you for sticking to it.
Yeah. Every prep, there's always something. So it's like,
absolutely,
life always happens, you know? So if you're going to make an excuse because, oh, you know, this happened, well, it's like, well, next month, life's going to throw something else at you. So
exactly.
you just roll with the punches. So
100%.
How is life away from your twin? Like, are you like going through separation anxiety?
It definitely sucks. I mean, we'll FaceTime and stuff, but I'm used to, now we're a little bit used to it because I've been back and forth for like 2 years where I'd be away from her for a little bit and then back home. But At first, it really sucked because we were together all the time, like every single day, and we were like inseparable. So
yeah,
it's tough. But
we see your stories. Your stories are really popular, and when you guys get on there, it's like a doublemint thing, you know.
I know. It's a duo.
Yeah,
it's a duo. The Dorie duo.
All right, we
I wish she could come here and just stay with me.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your background, Jen?
I'm Irish.
Both sides?
Oh, really? Hey, we might be going to Ireland, my wife and I. For
Yeah?
A trip next year. Yeah.
I never knew you were Irish. You don't really look. Oh, I guess because your natural hair color is more fair.
It's like a lighter brown.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And the blue eyes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I always get asked like, "What's your background?" No one has any idea. Or I get like people would guess like Italian or like my sister always looks Middle Eastern because she looks like she looks a bit more like Middle Eastern. I guess I don't really look like.
But the light skin tone is why I would not say Middle Eastern. Why I would say European. Well, you are. European,
I would think Italian.
Yeah,
most people say Italian, or if I'm like tanned post show with curly hair, they think I'm like something Spanish or like mixed or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because like the curls, and then they see like a dark tan. They're like,
what are the Kardashians? What are they?
They're Armenian, I think.
Yeah. Armenian, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Armenian.
Man,
don't insult Jen like that, all right?
What? It's a race.
She's another level. Yeah, no, it's nothing against Armenians, but comparing Kim Kardashian,
there's a whole race. There's a whole race of people.
Yeah, but Kim Kardashian's a different level.
Jen got a whole shitload of questions in her stories, so we're gonna have to get to them. But before we do that, everybody will be upset with me if we didn't talk about the booty. How do we build the booty? How do we build the booty? Booty. I'm going to play the J-Lo song right now. I'm going to clip it in.
What's the secret?
All right, top 4 glute building exercises for mass.
For overall mass, like hip thrust by far, like the number one. If you're going to do hip thrust and you're going to train heavy, proper with mind-muscle connection, I think you'll get the best results from that. A type of squat variation. I don't really do barbell back squats. Honestly, I don't feel it in my glutes that well. I prefer to do like a dumbbell sumo squat where I can hold the dumbbell and sit really low into it.
Okay. Or you elevate yourself?
I personally don't, because I find when I elevate, I don't really get much more out of it other than my hips just tuck under and I end up feeling on my lower back. Okay. So I'd rather go heavier and be able to just like sit really low down to the floor.
And keep the
instead of holding the dumbbell like this, you can hold it like this.
True. Okay.
So you don't want your back to roll under. You want to keep the arch to keep the glutes activated?
Yeah, keep your back straight. And for me, like when I'm doing like a sumo squat or something like that, or dumbbell squat, when I come up, I'm not like thrusting my hips forward at the top because I don't want to put the pressure on my lower back. Okay. So when people do that, you're no longer keeping the pressure on your glutes. Now you've shifted it to your lower back because when your hips are tucked,
you're rolling.
Your glutes are not activated. So I only really come up like 3/4 of the way and keep my knees slightly unlocked and think of your knees externally rotating.
Yeah.
And that's going to hit your glutes better.
I just did it with my knees. You can't see they're under my desk.
It was just going through saying it.
All right, that's 2. Give me 3. What's 3?
The third one, definitely like a lunge variation, whether that be like a split squat or like a reverse curtsy lunge, one of my favorites. It really hits like the top side of your glute really well. Yeah. As long as your knees are okay, because some people that might bug their knees.
Hard to balance.
Doing that on like, yeah, so I find if you do it on a Smith machine,
I fall over.
Really do it on a Smith machine.
Mike, you're also 260, buddy.
True, I know. But I'm writing notes, like mentally I'm taking these down because I'm going to do my glute routine as Jen is saying.
On the Smith machine, and then you cross your legs back behind you, like over?
Yeah, so put one leg in front, and then you're going to put your other leg cross back behind you.
Okay, makes sense.
And I hit that outer.
That way you don't have to worry about stabilizing yourself or anything like that. And then number 4, this one would be like right for like that glute ham tie-in area. Yeah. Honestly, the best for me that I feel is like the seated leg press, like the upright seated leg press. You know what I'm talking about? It's
like the machine, the loaded one?
Sitting, like you're sitting upright, like a vertical one.
Yeah.
And then just doing a single leg on that, you can really get deep and focus. Like when you're pushing up through your heel, it's just right in that glute ham tie-in area.
So you put reverse
muscle, but
do you like reverse hacks at all?
I do reverse hacks sometimes too. So I'll do either for a squat variation, it would either be like a dumbbell sumo squat, Smith machine like a sumo squat, or a reverse hack squat.
Okay.
So with your leg press, you position your foot up high?
That's a good question. Answer that one first.
For leg press?
With the leg press machine that you do, you position your single, like the single leg one, you position your leg up high, right?
I do it right in the middle because if I do it too high, then I end up feeling more hamstrings. So if I'm trying to hit my hamstrings, like I'll tap on my hamstring and put it up higher. But if I do like right in the middle, I can just sit like really deep and your glute will like cramp basically. You're going to feel like your glute's on fire doing that.
Okay. And then you're
Dorie style.
Heavy, you're going heavy on this, or you're doing like more like.
For most of them, I go as heavy as I can within like a certain rep range. So for sumo squats or anything like that, I'm trying to go heavy, usually like 10 to 15 reps, anything around there, depending on like the set. For the single leg stuff, I try and go as heavy as I can to fail within like 12 reps or so.
Okay.
But you got to train heavy if you want to grow. It's like if you're going to do 10 pounds or something, like realistically, you're not stimulating the muscle enough to grow. And if you're doing 10 pounds every single week, you're not going to do anything. It's progressive overload. You know, every week you got to keep pushing yourself a little bit more, a little bit more.
I feel heavy is a relative term though, because, you know, heavy is different for, you know, each of us as well.
Yeah.
And it depends on like what your rep range is too, right? So it's like heavy for an 8 rep range versus heavy for a 15 rep is going to be totally different.
Different for sure.
I was going to lead it into the next question. Do you change? Well, I know you mentioned that you're not training glutes now because they're gigantic, but do you usually change and lower the intensity of your glute training when you're in prep or when you're in deficit, or do you just?
No, I try not to, because I find like most people do that and they make the mistake of that, but then you lose the fullness and the density of the muscle. So even if you're, obviously it's going to be hard when you're low dieting and stuff, but if you want to keep that fullness, the density of the muscle, that hard look, you have to train heavy. Even for upper body, like, I'm not going to do like, you know, super light, because obviously I can't really lift that heavy from upper body anyways, but it's like, I'm going to drop set down and maybe go to a lightweight at the last few reps to burn out. But at the beginning of the reps, I'm going to go as heavy as I can with maybe 6 or 8 reps, and then I'll do a drop set.
Okay. I'm sorry, because we're not going to hold you long, because we do have a bunch of questions, and I know you don't have a lot of time. But how the hell do you work 10, 12-hour days and do all this shit?
I work all the time. Like, I wake up at 4 in the morning and I'm on my phone. Like, I'll like get up at 4 in the morning, like I can't sleep, and I like go on my phone, I start doing work, and like I work from my phone, right? So I'm constantly answering emails, answering Messenger, answering WhatsApp messages or whatever it may be. So I'm just used to it. I work all the time. When I'm doing cardio in the morning, I'm doing work. So it's just a good way to pass it. Oh yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be able to work from my phone and do whatever I want, you know, because not everyone has that luxury to not have to go to a job, and I can travel when I work. I can do my cardio while I work or something. So
I love that. And I think people need to hear that, because, you know, a lot of people, they just want to punch in and punch out. But if you really want to live the dream, it's right around the clock.
Like,
you know,
it'll be like 11
is power.
at night, and I'm still doing, you know, like I'm still doing work, sending stuff over, like going through like new client inquiries and stuff at like 12 at night, because, you know, obviously when you have clients at different time zones, like someone in Australia, their morning is our nighttime.
Yeah.
Or like someone who's in Japan or India or something like that. The time zones are all different. So it's like a constant around the clock.
You guys have a lot of clients in Australia and Asia?
Australia is pretty big for us. We have a pretty big client base there. Yeah.
Do you find a lot of more people there are like WBFF pros? Or do you work with both, I guess?
We don't do anything outside of NPC and IFBB Pro League. So
okay. I never knew that.
Yeah, so we only work with that league.
Cool. Nice. I wasn't aware.
Yeah, James mentioned there was like 300 clients or something like that. Like, is it that crazy?
Yeah, we have a lot. Honestly, our phones, like, you can ask anyone. Our phones are always like ding, 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 ding. My phone notifications are just like all day long.
It's like someone hacked it. Someone put in a cheat code.
Yeah. It's like all the messenger chats are like, shh.
It's like an annoying group chat, but for you, it's reality. It's
yeah, but it's like 200 of those.
Yeah.
Annoying group chat. This guy.
Yeah. No, not to say our group chat is annoying. It's just an example.
Here we go. The truth comes out, Jen. The truth comes out.
It's not true.
Oh, man.
But it's like, I'm excited always, you know, I'm like, I think some people think of it as like, oh, I have so many clients, check-ins to go through. Whereas I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see, you know, like this client, like I know last week we changed something in here. I can't wait to see how she looks this week. Or I can't wait to see like how this person's doing here. Or like, oh, I know this person had an issue last week. Let me see how she's feeling this week, you know? So you kind of have to shift your mindset when you have that many clients to be, I'm excited to see their progress. I'm excited to hear their feedback. If not, it gets tedious, you know, and you're like, oh, I don't do these. So,
but it's also your positive attitude. It's your passion and your positive attitude will contribute to the way that you approach your check-ins. Because it's very easy to say, fuck, another one? I just did like 8. But if you're like, oh, great, I can't wait to see,
You're 200
how
in
I
and
made
like,
this. Yeah.
200 in. Yeah, we're like
Wow,
8.
that's
yeah,
serious.
like,
woo.
Yeah, so
but I
like,
also build like a personal relationship with all of our clients too. Like James as well. Like we have personal relationships and friendships with all of our clients. So it's like getting to chat with, like if they don't check in, I'm like, hey, like I miss you talking in your check-in, like what's going on kind of thing. So like
wow,
it's like a friendship thing too, so that's, the clients really feel like they're connected to us as well. It's not just like a coach client, but they can reach out to us at any time if they need.
I try to be the same, because then it's like they're more likely to tell you the truth of what's going on in their life. If
or even like outside of their check-ins, I'll talk to clients, like they'll DM me, and like we have conversations every day for some clients. So
okay, quick day in life. So 4 a.m, wake up, phone,
badass.
I don't get up every day at 4 a.m., but like sometimes lately I can't.
Mike is going to bed at 4 a.m. and Jen is waking up at 4 a.m.
Usually I get up at like 7-ish. Like here the time zone's a bit different. I'm still getting used to it, like 6:37. I'll get up, I do my check-in. I do check-ins every day, and then I start going through like my phone check-ins, go through the emails, go through all the messages and check-ins, do my cardio, make Mark's food, make the dog's food, make my food, do my check-ins.
Wait, what? Mark's got it like that? Okay.
Like a king.
Man, Jen, you're killing it. You're crushing it out here.
She's taking care of a whole circle.
Yeah, it's a
European thing, man. It's a European thing. Good for you, Jen.
All right, so you got the meals made. Then you eat the first meal and you go train, or?
No, so usually I eat my first meal. I continue doing like check-ins and work and stuff, which usually we get check-ins all day long. So it's not like there's only like a few hours they come whenever they come.
Yeah.
So then I'm like going through check-ins pretty much all day long. And then I'm doing my last course in summer school right now. So I just had a final paper yesterday I had to finish. Wow. So I'm like, I've been crazy trying to get all that stuff done.
Go. What did I say on IG the other day? This girl is on fire. Yo, I'm telling you, man, you fucking crushed me.
What are you doing in school, Jen?
I'm finishing up my kinesiology degree.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I have one course actually that I had to finish because I had to switch to online when I was traveling so much. I couldn't be on campus. So last year I was doing a few online courses and I had one more course that I had to finish. So I just decided to do a summer school one. But the timing sucked because I was planning on doing Toronto, so I'd be done June, whatever it was, 12th. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I'll do it S2 terms. This way it's the end of the summer. I'm done my prep. I can just focus on the school course, my last course. And of course, it's like right at the end of my prep. So I'm like, I just had a final paper. And then 2 days after Tampa, I have my final paper due for my course.
Shit.
You know,
I have to do it before I go.
I love when people hear this because I believe humans have the man on the moon effect, and it's been studied that once you land on the moon, then every other one sees that, it's possible. Now I can land on the moon. You really don't know how hard you can work until you look at your peers with an open eye and accept yourself that maybe I could work a little harder,
Positive influences make a big difference.
That's why I love your hustle. Guys like Regan, like you guys motivate me whenever I'm like, man, I don't know, 2 shows, that seems like a lot this year. Yeah, right. Jed's crushing it, man. That's awesome.
Just gotta keep going.
You're super motivating. Like even as a bikini athlete, you're motivating men. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of it.
Thanks.
All right, we better get to these questions. Or
let's do a couple rapid fire ones here. Yeah. Okay, so the first question is coming from Lizette134, and she asks, how much cardio are you currently doing now?
As of right now, I'm doing 60 minutes a day, so we just dropped it down recently.
Nice.
60 minutes a day. Okay, jazzyfresh.ifbbpro asks, what are your career goals, lifestyle, fitness, dream that you're working towards making come true?
My career goals in terms of fitness industry, obviously I really want to be Miss Bikini Olympia one day, so I'm just going to keep working till that happens. Outside of that, I do have like the coaching business that I'm in and my own schooling, so if I want to pursue that any further, I would obviously go and specialize in something else. So at the moment, I'm probably just going to finish my degree with this course, and then I'll sit on it, and if I want to go and do like a specialization and go back to school again for anything else, I have that kind of sitting there waiting for me that I can do later on. right now I'm just like, I'm going to ride the wave of competing and everything because it's keeping me busy and I'm making good money right now. So
Tell them how old
Good
you
for
are.
you.
23.
You're the same age as me.
Go on. Tell them again.
Dude,
Tell them again.
Tell them again. Tell them
For
again.
the people in the back. For the
Tell
people
them
in the back.
again. Jeez.
23.
Honestly, sometimes when people are like, how old are you? I'm like 23. I'm like, am I 23 or 21? Because I feel like 20 from 21 to 23 went by
It was
so
a blur.
fast because I've
Yeah.
been traveling, competing. I'm like, I totally missed 22 and 23.
That's awesome. You're living your life,
Bye.
bro. You're living your
Yeah.
life.
I'm grateful for it. I mean, I have so much to be thankful for.
Good for you. And being grateful is the biggest thing.
It really
Good for
is.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so someone asks, what is your bicep size?
Yo, they're huge. They're
Did you
huge.
measure your
Yeah,
bicep?
22
wait.
inches.
Give us a double. Give us a double. Yeah, she got guns,
don't know where
man.
my
Get out of here. Yo, Mike had to leave. He was like,
No.
no.
You're embarrassing me now. You're making mine look small.
I think it was a dude that asked, and I'm pretty sure he just wants to know if your biceps are bigger than his.
It's very likely.
Sorry.
So,
Sorry,
All right.
pal.
Get him.
so this is actually a good one, and it's from Caitlin Collier Fitness, and she asks, how do you pump up backstage before stepping out there? Like, what do you do to pump up?
That's a really good one, actually. Yeah, so pump up. I think a lot of people end up pumping up too much too early, and then you end up looking soft when you're on stage or watery because you don't want to get your heart rate up that you're sweating backstage. You're ruining your tan, your makeup. And you don't want to be overexerting yourself that when you get on stage, you're like, when you have a pump, you look good. Once that pump goes away, you start to get a bit watery. So you don't want to pump up like an hour before you go on stage. Usually like 15 minutes before I go on stage, I do a light pump of like shoulders, biceps, sometimes like some rear delts.
Yeah.
Usually my legs I don't touch for pump up. Glutes I usually don't pump up because I want them to be too pumped up. So it's like just some light like shoulders, lateral raises, front raises, bicep curls, some rear delt flies or like a few rows, anything like that. And make sure like you're not like rushing through the movement, just slow and controlled contractions with bands.
Are you eating backstage?
No, I usually don't eat like at least an hour before I go on stage. Just
Do you
so my
pump up-
stomach is like tight.
Do you pump up your full upper body before you go out there? Or is it just your like certain body part?
Just a
obviously
little.
your chest.
Chest, right?
Yeah.
No, of course. So what, your arms and back? Arms, delts,
Just
and
like-
back?
Yeah, pretty much just like biceps, shoulders, and back. That's it. I don't do anything legs because obviously you don't want to be watery in your legs.
Watery, yeah.
And same thing glutes. Like I don't really pump up glutes either. Maybe a few kickbacks. It kind of depends on like how I look. If we
I
need
feel
them to
like-
be or not.
I feel like most girls have to, but because you're Jen Dorie, you don't have to touch your glutes. But
Most
I know
girls
I'm
do pump
backstage
up
and I'm
glutes.
like, what the fuck? Like, pump up, pump up.
I try
Lucky you,
not. I
Jen.
mean, even like when I'm on zero carbs, like my like muscles are pretty full. I have pretty round muscles and full. Like even on zero carbs, I look full. So it's like you saw my check-in today, and I've been zero for the past like 2 days, and I still look pretty full. So I don't have to pump up too much.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's when genetics kick in.
Mhm.
What's your
Okay.
next meal?
So we got
Yeah.
one more here from
That's it.
Mars Gorgon, and she asks, what motivates you to keep going during prep?
Definitely knowing that there's always gonna be someone out there working harder than you and that's like right on your tail trying to beat you.
Yeah.
So I know like if I slow down, I'm giving someone the opportunity to beat me and be better than me. And like, how could you go on stage and like accept that you gave someone the opportunity to beat you on stage? Like I had said to even James was like, because obviously we're friends and we work together and he's my coach, he feels bad sometimes to like make me suffer. So he's like, you're going to hate me, but you know, let's up cardio to this and drop your carbs. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. Just tell me what to do and I get it done. Like it's good. I'm like, I would rather suffer right now than suffer on stage with second place.
Yeah.
I've gotten second place so many times. Obviously, I've never won a pro show. So I'm like, my goal is to win. Like, I don't care if I have to suffer now. It's worth it. So for me, just knowing like I'm not where I want to be, just I can always be better. That motivates me.
It's a killer
Good.
mindset to have.
That head on your
A lot of people
shoulders
need to
isn't
hear
just
that.
hair, Jen. Good for you.
Yeah, what did James call it? A pineapple head?
Oh, when I have like a bun, it's like
Yeah.
a big pineapple. I just like,
Okay, so we got a question here from Jay's sister, actually.
Yeah, who
And,
you coached.
oh,
Huh?
Adrian.
Yeah.
I
So
love
she
Adrian.
Jen
asked
coached my
Such a
sister.
sweet
That's
person.
why.
She asked, what are your goals outside of bodybuilding?
Outside of bodybuilding, definitely like one of my main goals was to finish my degree because I kind of been lingering with it because when I was traveling, you know, I couldn't get into classes and online school filled up. York always goes on strike and stuff like that. So I couldn't get
Always.
into I've gone on strike since I was like, I don't know, 3 times in university so far. So I couldn't get into a lot of the courses, or they would fill up right away. So I like put in my calendar the date that the course is open for summer school, 12 a.m., like went online, chose my course. I already had the course number and everything. So I really wanted to just finish my degree to have that done. I mean, I spent so much time and effort and money on this degree. I just wanted to get it done because there's 1 credit remaining to finish. So that was one of my big things I want to get done outside of that. And I'll probably end up going to specialize later on in life. But
do you find it hard to study when you're on prep? Like, that's nuts.
Right now, it definitely is, because I haven't been like actually in school in a while. But when I first started competing, I was in school, and, you know, I was like in peak week and doing exams and stuff. So like, I was kind of used to it at the time, because that's how I started competing, was in that environment. And like when I was competing in like 2015, 2016, I was like, I had these crazy days. Like I would get up at like 5 a.m. I would take a bus down to the gym. I would do my cardio. I would bus down to York. I'd be at school from 8:30 a.m. to like 3 o'clock p.m. I'd go to work from 4 p.m. to 9. I would go to the gym at 9:30, LA Fitness. I'd be there and then come home at like 11, eat, get my meals ready the next day, up at 5 a.m. again. So I was just used to doing like go and always getting
the
stuff
hustle.
done. But to be honest, like there's no time to get lazy or like lay down or mess up your schedule, because you're on such a tight schedule. Like if I didn't get up at 5 a.m., like cardio, I had no time for it.
Honestly,
Like,
that's how I feel about life. That's how I feel about
for sure.
I feel that's how everybody should feel about life. You know, there isn't really time to be, you know, screwing around.
Lazy.
Yeah.
But sometimes like the more tight of a schedule you have, the easier it is to stay on track, because you can't be like, oh, I'm just going to go lie down for a nap. Like I hate naps. Anyone who knows me, like I don't nap. It's such a waste of time.
I disagree with you there.
I could be doing so much. I can't like sit still or just like lie on the couch or something. Like I'm like, I always have to be doing something.
See, I like them, but they don't like me.
See, I like them because before training, I usually get, you know, a nap in, then my pre-workout meal, and then I'm like, I'm engaged mentally, I'm ready. If I don't, it's not as productive. I'll try, but the output isn't the same. I mean, I know it's different with everybody, but
well,
when I nap, I wake up and I'm like, I have no idea where I am, like what day it is.
You can nap,
I'm like, it was supposed to be 20 minutes. It's 2 hours. You know,
Jen, what does your bedhead look like? Is it like just like Sideshow Bob status, just like insane?
I mean, it's similar to this. This is like kind of like
it's a line, man. Yeah, that's sick. I'm jealous. I'm really jealous.
How much chicken, how much protein do you eat in your meals? Just curious.
I do about 100 grams of chicken per meal.
Oh, okay.
That's about 30 grams of protein.
Yeah.
28 to 30 grams per meal.
5 meals, 6?
I do 5 right now.
5.
Nice.
And you're probably hungry, ready to eat one of those right now.
I space right now, so usually I don't eat for another like 30 minutes. So I usually eat it in the morning after cardio, and then I eat around like 1. Then I eat at like 3:30ish, and then I head to the gym for like 4 o'clock.
Do you space them out in order to try to help you like stay on track, prevent you from snacking, I guess, or being hungry?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in prep, it's like there's no snacking anyway.
No, I mean like cucumber. Do you do that? Is that okay? Yeah.
I usually only have that like at night. I want something sweet, so I would do that. Like I have like protein ice cream at night, and then if I want stevia and cinnamon cucumber, I'll do that. But then I got to cut that out now since it's like getting close. I cut out like artificial sweeteners, protein powders, all that kind of stuff.
How far out do you do that? 10 days?
Usually like around the 2-week mark. Like I started cutting out like condiments, like sugar-free ketchup and stuff that I was using.
Yeah.
I've cut that out already.
Nice.
Just like pre-workout that I'm still taking, I'll cut that out maybe like 7 days before.
Oh, really? The pre-workout too? Really?
Yeah.
Well, on that topic, let's give a shout out to your sponsor. I see that you just joined Team Magnum, right?
Yeah, they're amazing. I can't say enough good stuff about them. Like Marcus is awesome. You guys always see his stories. He's always like such a bundle of positivity and energy.
Positive, yeah.
Yeah, they have
it
an
fits
awesome
well
team.
with you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he's just like, he really cares about his athletes, and you know, I deal with him personally. I don't deal with like someone else for my stuff. Like Marcus will like call me or like, hey, let's FaceTime and let's chat. So he's really like personal with his athletes.
I find a lot of the girls on there are cool, you know, like good, positive,
super down to earth. Like he's big on
yeah.
personality on his team. Like he doesn't want anyone who's like stuck up or ungrateful, anything like that. He wants to kind of have that Magnum community where everyone is just like cool, nice people. Like if you reach out to them, they're willing to help you.
Yeah.
So
I think he's achieved that. So good for him.
Okay. So we got another one here from Dr. Stephanie Duque. And she asks, what are your tips for somebody competing in their first show?
Hire a good coach, number one, because a lot of times, people think they can do it on themselves, but if it's your first show, there's so much stuff that you don't know, like registering for the show, even your tan, your suit, your hair, your makeup. So if you hire a coach who has knowledge in that, it's going to save you a lot of time and effort.
Stress.
And a lot of confusion. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to show up and like not have a tan because you didn't know you needed a tan or something, right?
Whoopsies.
Or like you show up in like a bikini off the rack because you didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that's.
And so definitely hire a good coach and listen to what your coach says. I have so many girls who will DM me asking me, like, what do you do for this? And I'm like, well, what I do doesn't really matter for you because we have totally different bodies. I've been training since I was 16. So even though I'm only 23, people are like, oh, you've only been training for a little bit. I'm like, well, no, I've still been training for a decent amount of time because 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, like 7 years.
8 years, yeah.
Even though I'm young, I've been training for 7 years. It's like I have muscle maturity that you don't. If you did 0 carbs, you'd probably look like a string bean. Whereas I have like muscles that hold on to 0 carbs fine. So definitely listen to your coach. Don't try and do what you see other people doing. And don't let yourself get psyched out by social media because, we all know, like I'm posting my best on social media. I take maybe 10 pictures and maybe 5 are like, wow. And 5 are like, ugh, what is this? Like, I'm not posting the bad one.
I'm sure only you think so.
But it's like, even like same thing for a check, some people might take like a few different photos and they're going to like see what's the best angle that I'm going to post. So everyone's going to be posting their highlight reel on social media. So don't get too caught up in what you see on social media.
Awesome.
For sure.
I wanna get a chance to ask you because I'm not sure if anybody will, and I'm sure we're gonna get probably the most female views we've ever had on Shooting the Shit. What can you say to a young woman who's looking to have her the breast implants? Like, to calm fears or expectations or anything like that?
I'd say
a good doctor.
Yeah, so I got mine done in Toronto. This is not like a plug because obviously I don't get anything out of it. It's just Dr. Eugenberg, Dr. Six. He's like probably one of the most well-known doctors in Toronto. His clinic is in the Fairmont, the Royal York downtown. So it's nice. Like they put you in the hotel for the night and the nurses come and check on you in the morning. It's super convenient. Definitely do your research first. Like don't just jump into it because it's a big deal. Obviously it costs a lot of money and it's surgery. You're going underneath the knife. You're going under anesthesia. So you want to make sure you know what you're getting and you actually want it for the right reasons because if you're doing it for competing, I think it's kind of silly. Like it might enhance your shape, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to be happy with it, then you have to live with those implants for however long you're going to keep them in for. Yeah. And it's expensive to get them removed. So it's more expensive actually to get them removed than get them put in. So.
And you want to make sure, you're looking into if you want to do over the muscle, under the muscle, saline, if you want to use, the gummy bear stuff, which is.
Yeah, so I researched.
Mike, you know a lot about this.
I know, Mike's been researching it or something.
Too much. I'm researching glutes. Ready. Yeah, my glutes. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely like make sure you're doing it for the right reasons that you want to do it, not that someone else is telling you to do it or that you feel like you need to do it for a certain reason. Like, because chances are you're not going to be happy after if you didn't do it for yourself. And just like, I don't know, I hear a lot of girls will go and get their boobs done and they put on like a payment plan or they take out a line of credit for it. And I'm just like, why would you go into debt to have fake boobs? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. If you don't have the money set aside for them, don't do it. Like, I had the money set aside. So I was like, you know what? I wanted to do them. And I was like, yeah, I'll see. Like, I'll put aside money. If I have the money there, then I'll do it. I had the money. I'm like, it's not a big deal. I have the money already set aside for them. The timing for me was perfect. Right after Olympia, I could take plenty of time off. And keep in mind, you guys, like, you're going to be out of the gym for, like, I was out of the gym for, like, 9-10 weeks. So a lot of girls don't realize, and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to get my boobs done and then do a show in 15 weeks. But you're not training your upper body for, like, 10 weeks. And even then when you get back, your strength is low. You have to work up your strength again.
For sure.
So.
What advice would you give? I know they keep coming. I'm sorry. The questions will stop, I promise. What advice would you give to a young athlete or someone who wants to be a social media influencer? How do they make money out of this?
Definitely, like, be true to yourself and, like, your values on social media. Don't sell yourself out for, like, posting inappropriate stuff on IG. Like, my IG is very PG. I have never been like racy on my IG, and like photo shoots that I do, like even if I do photo shoots, it might be like a little bit racier. Like I don't post those pictures on my IG for the most part, because like I have people's family who follows, my family follows me on IG. Like Mark's parents follow me on IG. I don't want them seeing like stuff like that, you know, and it's just not a good look. I know people think that sex sells, but you don't have to be posting like up your ass shots and stuff like that to be selling product, because you're not monetizing on that. If you look at who your followers are when you're posting ass shots or boob shots or something like that, it's creepy old men who just want to stare at you and save your photos. They're not buying anything from you. So yeah. And as a female, I know like if I see girls posting, I'm like, it gets old. I just unfollow, because I'm like, I don't want to see your ass in my face or something like that. It's inappropriate. And like, I don't want to be scrolling my Instagram and be like, oh God, I have to hide this one's behind me. Like, what is this? Like, or something in my face, like bent over. So just like be mindful of what you're posting, because any like real genuine company is not going to want to be paying you good money to post like ass shots, you know, like that's not how you're going to make your money. And if you're trying to sell a product, or, you know, you're trying to make commissions off a product, think of who your audience is and try and like reach out to your target audience. So like provide quality content, provide updates on your personal, you know, like what's going on in your life, your training, give them tips for training and stuff like that. Like show insight into your daily life, because that's what people want to see. But you can still keep some stuff private. Like you don't have to share everything on social media, because that's when like people love to start drama and stuff. So I have my social media that I share a lot, but I mean, I don't share everything on social media. My relationships I keep private off social media, because I don't need to throw it on social media, you know?
I love that you said that. I love that you said that, because I'm all about women empowerment and keeping it classy, you know, especially in this day and age. I really appreciate you coming on and give us the opportunity. You're on fire. I'll say it again. Jen's on fire. Jen's on fire. What is Jen gonna do to take this fucking title? It's shooting the shit. I'm allowed to swear. What are you doing to take this title? Tell us how you're doing it.
This is the hardest I've ever worked. So before my Olympia prep, I said that was the hardest I ever worked, and that was my 100%. So it's crazy to think that like comparing to where I was 2 weeks out of Olympia, I feel like I've already improved since then. And it's crazy that was my 100% then, and I've already surpassed that. So I'm just every day like doing what I have to do, one day at a time, like a few hours at a time even. Like I'm tired obviously, but I know like there's someone else out there who wants that title too. So if I slow down, I'm giving them the opportunity to pass me.
Yeah, go, 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 go. All right.
I'm excited to see you do some damage.
Love it.
Finish strong. Leave no strong turns. I'm like every little thing, like posing even, like I'm posing like 3 times a day, practicing my routine. Yeah, just doing everything I can. When I'm training, I'm like thinking, even though I'm tired, I'm like trying to be really intentional with my training. Like when I'm training glutes, not now, but last week I was like, how do I want my back pose to look on stage when I'm training? I'm trying to think of like, how am I going to pose my back pose and I want this to look. So I'm associating like my posing on stage with how I'm training that muscle. Even like if I'm doing back and I'm like, okay, how do I want my back to flare out in my poses? How do I want it to look? And I want to feel the muscle.
Awesome, man. Jen,
words from the wise.
You're heading straight to outer space, man. I'm telling you. I'll say it here now. Jen will be Bikini Olympia very soon. All right, very soon. Why don't you give a shout out to your people, your sponsors?
Yeah, so Magnum, I got to give them a huge shout out. They've been awesome since I signed with them in January. Pro-Tan, my other sponsors, are going to get me all tanned up since I'm super pale and can't go on stage without them. My suit, I actually just got a new one with Toxic that I'm not going to show off just yet, but I can't wait to show it off on stage. It's going to be awesome. Obviously, I have to give a shout out to Mark. He's been helping me out a lot, always there for me. And James and Angelina, of course, because we're the trio.
Absolutely.
The 3 Musketeers.
Awesome.
3 Musketeers. The eggs.
You like that, eh?
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much. All right. You have a great day, and good luck in Tampa. Good luck the rest of the season, and we'll be rooting for you. We'll be cheering you. Watch, I'll be on IG Live like go, 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 go. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy that scorching heat.
Yeah.
Oh, right, honestly, guys. I love it. It's like 45 degrees out, but I'll just go outside and like sit in the heat. I'm like, oh, it's so nice.
But the humidity is not like what? Like 5%? It's insane.
It's totally different than when you go outside in Canada and it's like 40 degrees, you can't breathe because it's like
the humidity.
It's just like the sun is hot, but the air is dry. It's normal.
So your hair is just, it doesn't move.
No, here it's fine. I actually had to
Yeah.
switch my hair products because at home it was so humid that I was using a different gel for like a stronger hold. And here I was just drying my hair out, so I had to.
Yeah, in Toronto, it looks like you got electrocuted, right? Because the humidity's at a
I
level.
really want to know how Mike knows so much about hair and breast implants.
Dude, I got a girl who's in
Hair
the
and
industry as
implants.
well.
Yeah, that's right.
Mike,
that's
you're
right,
the
that's
specialist
right.
on hair and
But I mean,
implants.
I knew about this from time. I like to research and
Yeah.
have a background, so I don't sound like an idiot. It's good to have a little bit of a background.
Yeah. All right, Jen. We'll let you go eat or train or answer 200 emails.
Arrivederci.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.